Today we're looking at part 5 of our train, which is the wheel. So as always, I'm going to start with a new standard part. I'm going to create that. And what I'm first looking for is this profile. So I'm going to make something similar to that. So I'm going to start a new sketch. And I'm going to make a rectangle that is 0.25 by 1, because that is that size right here. So I have that 1 and then that 0.25. And I'm going to make another rectangle in here. And I'm going to dimension from the bottom of that to here. It's going to be 0.25. And from the top of it to here, 0.75. And from the back here is going to be 0.125. I am going to then add in my circle here. So I'm going to grab the center point of that, and my diameter is 0.25. And I'm going to trim. This may turn some of my lines purple, and that's okay. So it's not letting me because it's dimensioned. So we can delete that. So it's okay if those just turned purple because they weren't before. And then I'm going to trim all of this. And we can click finish. I'm going to revolve. And I'm going to select this bottom edge as my axis. I'm going to click OK. So there's my overall general shape for my wheel. And then I know that I have this fillet, so that radius of 0.0625, and I'm going to add that now. So fillet, my radius is 0.0625, and I'm going to fillet all these curves, so that way I have that nice curve. Click OK. So I have my general shape. Now we're going to add in the hole in the middle. So I'm going to start my new sketch. And I'm looking for this hole in the center. So that has a diameter of 0.28 and it's going to go through. So I can do my circle, diameter 0.28, finish, extrude, and I'm going to cut that through all. Now I'm going to go to the back of my wheel and I'm going to start my sketch, because this is where I'm really looking at those spokes or these cutouts. So I'm going to start with those two circles. So the first one, and notice it's in diameter, that dotted line is going all the way across. So I'm going to right click and change this to radius. So now my first radius is going to be 0.63 or 625. And my second circle is going to be, I just want to make sure I selected, see I didn't click on that center point. I want to make sure I grab that center point, otherwise it's not going to look right. And my other circle has a radius of 0.375. And I'm just going to work within that space. And this circle is just part of the feature, or of the wheel. So now I'm going to start by drawing 3 lines. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to come up. And then I'm going to draw 2 more lines, one on either side of that. And I want to be careful not to snap to anything, because I want those to stay purple, because we're going to add dimensions that say where they go. And then I'm going to dimension from my line to this line. See how it snaps somewhere. And that's going to be 15 degrees. And from this line to this line is going to be 15 degrees. And then I'm going to trim what's extra. So I'm going to trim all these extra pieces, and that's going to give me that shape right there. I'm going to click finish. I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to cut that through all. I notice I have that one singular spoke. If you look here, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those total. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my circular pattern or a circular array. I'm going to select my extrusion as my feature, and my axis is going to be that center point. So you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which it defaults to, and that's going to array or pattern that feature. And I'm going to click OK, and then it has that part for me. So I'm almost done. That's all of the basics. The only thing we need now is we need this kind of linkage arm hub, what that's going to connect to on our train. So I'm going to start a new sketch, and it has to be on this flat surface inside our wheel. I'm going to start a circle somewhere over here that has a diameter, so I want to change this to diameter. My diameter is 0.25. And then I want to specify the distance, so I'm going to say from my center point to the center of that is going to be, let me get it so it snaps right. Now, it doesn't want me to be able to do that kind of inline drawing, so let me actually change the way I'm looking at this. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to look at my back. And I'm going to put it so that way I have a cutout at the top. So now when I start that sketch here, I can draw my circle on that line. So my diameter is 0.25. Sometimes when we're doing something new, it takes a little bit to figure out what it is exactly that we want. And in between these is going to be 0.7. It's okay that it goes into that side part. So I'm going to click finish. And then if you look, I have my 0.7 from my center to the center of that, and then I'm going to extrude that 0.25 diameter 0.375. So extrude. I always like to look at it. 0.375. Okay, and then I'm going to start new sketch on here, and I'm going to make another circle with a diameter of 0.125. Finish, extrude, and I'm also going to extrude that 0.125. And the last thing, just like with our train engine, we need to put a hole here. So I just started a sketch so that way it gives me that center point to start my hole with, although it didn't do that. Sometimes it behaves differently than others. So I'm going to draw in my circle with a diameter of 0.0625. So I can click finish, and then I can use the center point of that to create my hole, and we know that it's going to go a distance. It's going to end in a point. My depth is going to be 0.25, and my diameter is 0.0625. I can click OK. So I'm going to make sure that I change the material for my wheel, but that is my wheel in its entirety. Always be sure to save your part. DDE, train, block underscore username underscore wheel, and save.